Do you have questions about your new AC Series filter? I've got answers. Let's talk about it. The maximum aquarium rim size, which is basically the distance in here, for AC 20, 30, 50, and 70 filters is 0.9 inches or 2.4 centimeters. In the case of the AC 110, it's 1.4 inches or 3.6 centimeters. If your aquarium rim is that size or smaller, then AC Series filters will work on your tank. If your rim is larger than the numbers I just listed, you'll need to either see if you can modify the rim somehow or upgrade to a canister filter like the 07 series or the FX series. So water enters the filter through the intake strainer sponge. It then passes up through the intake tubes and gets sent down to the bottom of the filter case. At that point, it passes through the biofoam block and then through the carbon and the biomax before being sent back out into your aquarium. Now, thanks to the refiltration system that's included with AC Series filters, when you reduce the flow, rather than just actually blocking up to 50% of the water, the system instead diverts it back through the media. So you have less flow coming out of the filter, but the amount of times that the water is being filtered is actually increased. For AC 20, 30, and 50 filters, the water level should be no more than 5/8 of an inch or 16 millimeters below the bottom of the output, which is this part right here. For AC 70 and 110 filters, the water level shouldn't be more than 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters below the bottom of the output. If your water level is a lot lower than that, the system is going to struggle to restart automatically after a power outage the way that it's designed to. Personally, I recommend keeping the water level basically touching the bottom of the output here. That's going to give you a good combination of horizontal and vertical water movement coming out of the filter, and it's also going to make sure that the surface of the water is nicely agitated. First of all, make sure that the filter is properly plugged in. Next, check that there's water inside of the filter case. If it's completely empty, the filter is not going to be able to start up and run properly. After that, check that the intake U-tube, which is the piece that goes kind of over the edge like this, make sure it's seated and making contact with the top of the impeller cover so that water can actually be pulled in properly. Lastly, make sure that the impeller well, and impeller shaft are properly cleaned. If there's a lot of gunk and debris in there, the motor's not going to be able to start up and work properly. We recommend using both intake stems if you can, if it'll fit inside of your aquarium. Basically, the lower that the intake is, the more complete circulation you're going to have through your aquarium because you're pulling water from the bottom and then spitting it back out at the top. The only case where you might want to be careful is if you have sand substrate. You don't want the intake to be basically touching the sand because then it could start sucking sand up into the filter body. But as long as there's a couple of inches between the bottom of the intake and your substrate, you won't have any issues. So for the initial startup, you want to fill the filter case with water and then turn the flow control lever to the minimum setting. Then plug the filter in. It'll start priming, it'll make some noise, that's normal. Give it about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, then turn the flow control up to the highest setting. At that point, the filter will complete the priming cycle, it'll start working as expected, and then you're good to go. Afterwards, if you need to adjust the flow control to suit your fish or your aquascape or whatever, you can do so safely at that time. So this is probably happening because the media is really dirty and needs to be cleaned. The motor is going to pull water into the filter at the same rate continuously. But if the media is super clogged, water's not going to be able to pass through it the way you'd expect it. So basically that's going to cause an accumulation of water on this side of the filter, which then you can have water spilling back out into your aquarium. So basically, just clean out the media on a regular basis. We just made a video about how often to clean and replace all parts of an AC Series filter, so I'll link it somewhere up there. Definitely recommend that you watch it. If the flow of water coming out of your AC Series filter is slower than you'd expect it to be, there's basically two possibilities. Number one, the media's dirty and it's slowing the water moving through it. Very easy, you just gotta clean it or replace it if necessary. The second option is that the motor itself is really dirty. Again, just take it apart, give it a thorough clean, check the impeller. If it looks like it's been worn down, it might need to be replaced. Once you put it all back together, the filter should go back to working as you'd expect it to. We recommend rinsing out the intake strainer sponge on a monthly basis and then replacing it every 2 to 3 months approximately. However, you may need to clean it out more frequently given your particular aquarium. If you have a lot of small plant leaves that tend to get kind of stuck to it, for example, you may need to rinse it out more frequently. Basically, I suggest on a weekly basis while you're doing your water change, just give it a check. If it looks dirty, if it looks like there's a lot of stuff on and in it, just give it a quick rinse and then throw it back on. If an AC Series filter is making noise, there's basically only one thing it could be, the motor. The impeller is the only moving part in the entire filter. It just sits there and spins all day. So yeah, if there's noise or vibrations being generated, that's probably where it's from. So the first step is to just clean out the motor, clean the impeller well, and the impeller shaft. If that doesn't fix the issue, it's possible that the impeller does need to be replaced. Because the impeller sits there spinning all the time, it does eventually wear down. It's a part that does sometimes need to be replaced. So swapping that out, putting in a new impeller should reduce any noise you may be having, and it may also increase the flow rate back to what the filter was sort of initially designed to produce. And that is it for today. Be sure to hit the link in the description down below to learn more about AC Series clip-on filters. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.